You know how your parents always tell you don't go out on the internet because you never know what you'll find, or all that perverted stuff will warp your mind? I don't know that this is what they were talking about, but to me, it kind of fits. Recently, on the Huffington Post, a gentleman by the name of Zaron Burnett wrote an article entitled A Gentleman's Guide to Rape Culture. Now, fancying myself a gentleman, I'm always interested in gentlemen's guides. You never know how to be a better gentleman unless you study. So, sounds good. Let's go check this out. And it starts out not very promising for the gentleman. Quote, "If you are a man, you are part of rape culture. I know, that sounds rough. You're not a rapist, necessarily, but you do perpetuate the attitudes and behaviors commonly referred to as rape culture." End quote. I like how he says, you're not a rapist, necessarily. Is he expecting to be read by a number of rapists? Are rapists going to come to his article and decide, hey, you know what, I want to be a gentleman when I rape. I think I should study under this man. Well, my necessarily racist people, I am afraid you've come to the wrong place to learn that lesson. Instead, you're going to learn the lesson about why all men, even the innocent ones, perpetrate rape culture. Now, there's a few points I'm going to deal with this article, and I'm going to leave the link below so you can all go check it out and see what wondrousness is this article. Because this article truly is, in its own way, a bit wondrous. His reasoning for this article comes down to, since it's in bold, I can only guess this is the thesis statement of the article: men are the primary agents and sustainers of rape culture. Rape isn't exclusively committed by men. Women aren't the only victims. Men rape women. Women rape men. But what makes rape a men's problem, our problem, is the fact that men commit 99% of reported rapes. End quote. Now, I don't know if that statistic is true. I want to believe it's not true, but let's say he's telling the truth, at least as far as he knows it. Men commit 99% of reported rapes. Well, there's an issue with this already. See, if men are committing 99% of reported rapes, that means men are not reporting being raped by women. And that troubles me, because I have read stuff, and I've seen stuff, and people have made videos about this, talking about just domestic violence, for an example. And it's recently come out that domestic violence rates are actually 50-50. Women commit an equal amount of domestic violence as men do. And I found this interesting. I didn't find it surprising because I believe in gender equality, and I figure if one gender's pretty bad, the other gender's just as bad. So this leads me to wonder, if we define rape as coerced, unwanted, forcible sexual intimacy, then theoretically, why can't women commit just as many rapes as men? Now, there are some answers to this. Women aren't as physically strong as men, so it's harder for women to go out and physically rape men. But there's a statistic, and he mentions this, further down in the article, that 73% of the time a woman knows her rapist. Well, I would imagine similar amounts of the time, a man knows his rapist. Especially if that rapist is a woman. So, this disturbs me. 99% of reported rapes are caused by men. But we can guesstimate, based on scientific averages and knowledge of how people work mechanically and psychologically, that it is more than plausible that women can rape up to an equal amount of the time as men do. So if 99% of reported rapes are committed by men, this tells me there's a lot of unreported rapes, probably against men. Either because men don't believe they've been raped, or they're ashamed. Because when a man comes out and says, I have been raped, he's generally not treated well. There's a lot of victim shaming. There's a lot of you asked for it, and there's a lot of, oh, well, you got to have sex. What are you fucking complaining about? It's an attitude that's very clear to see when we look at teachers having sex with students. If a male teacher has sex with a female student, he is a pariah. He is treated as the worst kind of human being on this planet. When a female teacher has sex with a student, nice. Nice. Good for you, kid. You got to have it with a hot older woman. I mean, sure, she used her position of power and trust to convince you to have sex with her, illegally, and against your ability to consent, so she raped you. But nice. I guess rape is okay as long as the opposite party is female and attractive. Who knew? So, already, I'm starting to see a problem with this article. He continues, how are you part of rape culture? Well, I hate to say it, but it's because you're a man. End quote. Already, we've hit the deep end, and we are diving. We are told that we are not supposed to make judgments based on gender, sex, orientation, race, religion, so on and so forth. And I want you to remember that, because it becomes important later. And yet here, we are told, because of an accident of birth, you are responsible for something you have no control over, do not support, and take no part in, as an action. I want you to remember that later. He continues, when I cross a parking lot at night and see a woman ahead of me, I do whatever I feel is appropriate to make her aware of me so that A, I don't startle her, B, she has time to make herself feel safe and comfortable, and C, if it's possible, I can approach in a way that's clearly friendly in order to let her know I am not a threat. I do this because I am a man. End quote. Right now is about the part where I really wish I had video ripping and better editing skills, because I would so grab Lynn Cara from atop the fourth wall's image of him punching something and screaming, I am a man! It just fits too perfectly. I do this because I am a man! Ow. Anyways, so, yes. Now, honestly, I would love to know how he does these things. In fact, I would love to know why he's paying so much attention to if there's women around him when he's crossing a parking lot at night. When I'm crossing a parking lot at night, I typically have my headphones in my ears, I'm listening to music, and I'm probably carrying several sacks of groceries. I'm not really interested in anybody, man or woman. And I have no intention of announcing myself that I'm there. My intention is I'm going to go to my freaking car. I'm going to get in it. I'm going to go home. I may make a shitty video for YouTube. I might make a nice post for my blog. I may just have some beer and watch some Netflix. My thoughts are I want to go home because it's nighttime. It's late, and I'm probably tired from a hard day at work. So, yeah. The fact that he's hyper-aware to every woman in the parking lot with him makes it sound a little bit creepy. Not saying anything, but makes it a little bit creepy here. Also, I'm not sure how she's supposed to make herself feel safe and comfortable. I mean, unless it's, to give her ample time to pull out her pepper spray or her Glock 9. I mean, hey, if she wants to do that, more power to her. In fact, carrying a Glock 9 probably would save her from getting raped. Not always, but possibly. Maybe even probably. Who knows? And I love this part. See, if it's possible, I can approach in a way that's clearly friendly in order to let her know I'm not a threat. Okay, I would love to know how you do that, dude. I mean, do you do that Ferguson thing? Hands in the air, don't shoot, I'm not a rapist, don't shoot. Because that would be hilarious. I would love to see you walking through the parking lot, going to every woman with your hands in the air saying, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. That'd be hilarious. And before anybody gets mad at me, yes, I am vaguely aware that the man writing this article could be black. So, topical. Hey, guess what? The woman could be a police officer. You really don't want her to shoot. So, there you go. But honestly, dude, your 3 points are making it sound much creepier. And while I am not a rapist, and I don't really know anything about raping people, because, frankly, I'm too weak to do it. It's not going to happen with me. This sounds a little bit, what's the word? Oh yeah, rapey. Because I'm pretty sure a rapist would approach in a way that's clearly friendly in order to let her know he's not a threat. Most rapists I've heard about do not come out with a giant dong attached to their belt, carrying a giant knife, screaming, I'm gonna rape you, bitch! I'm gonna rape you, bitch! No. You're probably not going to get any success that way. It's like a tiger with stripes. Tiger wears stripes to blend in. Tiger doesn't wear stripes that yell, I'm a tiger, I'm going to eat you. So, you're not helping the cause. Here, my brother. You are not helping your cause. You are making it sound like you creeping. It amazes me sometimes with people and how far they go. So, we'll continue on here, and let's see. So, he continues with, and I apologize for skipping over stuff, I'm just taking the relevant things for me. Continues. Basically, I acknowledge every woman I meet on the street, or in an elevator, or in a stairway, or wherever, in a way that indicates she's safe. Okay. How? You're telling me I should do these things, but you're not telling me what I should be doing. How am I supposed to tell her and indicate she is safe? In fact, you're indicating every woman, which means they're all going to notice the fact that you're looking at every woman. If you just ignored women, they'd probably figure they were okay. But you're giving them all special, undivided attention in order to make them feel safe. I mean, do you just, come over, shake their hand, say, hi, my name is Zaron, and I will not be your rapist today. Because, frankly, I would love to see that. If you do it, put it on YouTube, because I want to see how this works. I would love to see how you let a woman, every woman, know she's safe. Quote, I want her to feel just as comfortable as if I weren't there. I accept that any woman I encounter in public doesn't know me, and thus all she sees is a man. One who is suddenly near her. Okay, this one just makes me wish I could rip so many people, because the Nostalgia Critics, man speech, right now, would be so perfect. The most evil creature in the world is man. Yes, man. Known for his two-dimensional personality, jutting chin, and fantastic muscular physique. Man is known for killing animals, raping women, pillaging the planet, and doing everything in the name of the almighty pussy. Yeah, okay. Sure, dude. You are a man. For now. Continuing on. I have to keep in mind her sense of space and that my presence might make her feel vulnerable. That's the key factor, vulnerability. Actually, I think at this point the key factor is called paranoia rather than vulnerability. See, vulnerability can be managed. Vulnerability can be trained against. You can carry weapons. You can study martial arts. You can be aware of your surroundings. These things can be done. Paranoia, on the other hand, is the belief that somebody is out to get you. And despite having lived as a wizard for several years and knowing that there can be an invisible monster about to eat your face, even if you don't see it, I understand a thing or two about paranoia. But, what you're describing is not a sense of vulnerability. At least not anymore. Because women can be vulnerable. Men can be vulnerable. Everybody can be vulnerable. That's the natural state of living. But when you refuse to do anything about your vulnerability, when you refuse to learn how to manage yourself and your surroundings personally, and you still feel vulnerable, you have now reached a state of paranoia. Because you are intentionally creating a situation in which you believe all things are threats to you that can overcome you, because you have not trained to overcome them. Continues. I don't know about you, but I don't spend much of my life feeling vulnerable. I've come to learn that women spend most of their social lives with the ever-present, unavoidable feelings of vulnerability. Stop and think about that. Imagine always feeling like you could be at risk, like you were living with glass skin. End quote. Actually, I don't really have to imagine this. And I don't know about you, but I have spent much of my life feeling vulnerable. Very vulnerable. Emotionally and physically. I may be close to 6 feet tall, but I'm not a strong person. I have trouble lifting 25 pounds. I am not strong. I'm basically an invalid. I know what it means to be weak. I know what it means to be endangered. And I know what it means to be vulnerable. And I know what it means to exist in those conditions in a near constant state. However, I have trained against that vulnerability, so to an extent I can at least protect myself, even if I'm not strong. Now, most women I know, I would think, don't exist in the state you're describing. But it's possible. I don't know all these women to their deepest souls. I don't know their thoughts, their feelings, and all that when this subject comes up. But I will give you that a lot of women do come across as being incredibly paranoid about men and male attention. Honestly, it's partially because of people like you. And partially because you're contributing to rape culture. You're contributing to an idea that culture supports rape, desires rape, and that every woman can and will be raped. Despite the fact that most women will go through their lives and not be raped, statistically. But that's a different argument. So already, you've lost me to an extent. Because you're coming from a position of, I have never been vulnerable. Which I'm pretty sure is incorrect. You just don't realize it. Everyone is vulnerable. You might be in a state of, I don't give a fuck, but you're vulnerable. And in a lot of ways, writing this article, you don't realize how vulnerable you are. Continues on. As modern men, we must seek out danger. We choose adventures and extreme sports in order to feel like we're in jeopardy. We make games of our vulnerability. That's how differently men see the world from women. Parentheses. Obviously stated with full acknowledgement that there's a vibrant community of extreme athletes that are women who regularly risk their safety as well. However, women don't need to engage in adrenaline sports to feel at risk. End parentheses. Okay. First off, you're creating a false equivalency here. The risk one feels from extreme sports and adventures is not nearly the same as the risk of being physically attacked. If you wanted to come close, you could maybe say mugging and rape. Now, mugging isn't often nearly as traumatic as rape, but it can be just as deadly. Lots of people die from being mugged. That's a true threat to your life given by an external person. There's a difference between threats given by external people and threats we create by putting ourselves in nature. The risk and adrenaline rush you feel from riding a bike down a 40-degree slope of loose gravel is always going to be different from the one when somebody puts a gun to your head and says, "Give me your money." That's why you have to state that there is a giant community of female athletes who do this same stuff. It's because it's completely different. And because you're writing to such a sex-obsessed audience that if you don't, you realize they will rip you to shreds for being sexist for not mentioning it. So, hey, look, that's a vulnerability. You're clearly acknowledging it. You're clearly trying to manage it. Remember how he does that, because that becomes important later too. Now, I will give him a point. As modern men, we do tend to seek out danger. We don't have it here. That's actually one of the major problems with society, I believe, at this point. We don't know danger. Not like other places do. We don't know war. We haven't known a war on our soil since essentially the Civil War. Not in any sort of large scale. Not in any sort that affects people, that says, my home could be next. We haven't had that for over 150 years. We have forgotten what it feels like. Heck, we haven't even really been involved in a true, actual war since World War II. And as far as one says the Iraq Wars and Gulf Wars and so forth, that to me doesn't exactly count. Yes, it started with a terrorist attack here on our soil, but other than that, it's been a war on the TV. I am more emotionally invested in wars I get involved to on Total War II. A video game where I, let the computer handle my battles for me sometimes. I'm more emotionally invested in that than I am in the war over in the Middle East half the time. Because it's distant. It's far removed. It is a thing that I hear about at 6 o'clock on the news, and I don't have to worry about for the rest of the day if I don't want to. We, as a people, don't know danger from war. We don't know it from animals. We don't know it from starvation. We don't know danger. So yes, we have to seek it out. But that's still a difference from rape or mugging or anything like that. That is far, far different. So trying to create that equivalency isn't working. Continuing on in relevance. Now, I stand about a finger of tequila under 6 feet. So, about a finger. I work out, and I would say I'm in decent shape, which means when I'm out alone at night, I rarely ever fear for my safety. Remember the mugging thing? You're an idiot. You're always in a state of danger. That is called life. People can come up to you and assault you at random for who you are, or just because you're there and they feel like it. If you're out alone at night, and you're not fearing for your safety, I'm going to state it right now. You are an idiot. Many men know exactly what I mean. Most women have no idea what that feels like. To go wherever you want in the world at any time of day or night and feel you won't have a problem. In fact, many women have the exact opposite experience. I am pretty sure the female members of the NRA exactly know that feeling. Because they probably have 1, 2, maybe even 3 guns on their person. And while a gun does not ensure your safety, a gun does ensure your mental stability in the face of danger. Because you figure, hey, I've got this. I've got 3 guns and at least 18 rounds of ammo. I'm pretty sure I can kill whoeverybody is gonna fuck with me. So, you know what? I'm gonna state you're an idiot because you don't feel in danger at night. And I'm gonna state you are an idiot because you're assuming most women, if not all women, have no idea what it feels like to be safe wherever they go. Frankly, you're insulting a lot of women who take care of themselves and carry weapons or have martial arts training and know they are probably safe wherever they go because they are aware of the potential danger and they have trained to handle it. A woman must consider where she is going, what time of day it is, what time she will arrive at her destination, and what time she will leave her destination, what day of the week it is, if she will be left alone at any point. The considerations go on and on because they are far more numerous than you or I can imagine. Actually, no. I can't imagine it because she sounds like she is planning things to a schedule. Which I've done. I don't like to do it because it's a lot of bloody work, but I have done. And I know people who do this. And yes, you can put this in the context of, she is afraid of being raped. But you know what? Most women are like that. Most women I know schedule out their day because they like to be efficient. They like to get everything done, and they like to know when and where they should be, at what time, and where and who they will have with them. That's just part of people's lives, man. Honestly, I can't conceive of having to think that much about what I need to do to protect myself at any given moment in my life. Oh look, you're being an idiot again. I relish the freedom of getting up and doing day or night, rain or shine, west side or downtown. I relish the freedom of getting up and going, day or night, rain or shine, west side or downtown. Well, that's because you're a free law-abiding citizen. That has nothing to do with you being a man. As men, we can enjoy this particular extreme luxury of movement and freedom of choice. In order to understand rape culture, remember this is a freedom that at least half the population doesn't enjoy. Okay. You are now stating all women do not feel that way. I'm guessing then we're in a place of the no true Scotsman. Because if I pulled up a woman that says, hey, I feel perfectly fine doing that, you would say, well, you're not a real woman then. You don't understand. You haven't suffered. Because, really, idiocy! You can't make blanket statements about that. You can't make blanket statements about all people, all women feeling a certain way. Okay? I'm pretty sure there is a shit ton of women out there who do get up and go, day or night, rain or shine, west side or downtown, wherever the hell that is, to do as they please. Maybe they're members of the NRA. Maybe they are martial artists. Maybe they are just women who figure, hey, I can do this because I'm a person. And if you do those things yourself, and you're not worried about being attacked, as I said, you're kind of being a bit of an idiot yourself because you can get attacked. You can get mugged. And you do not apparently know the rates at which men die in muggings and criminal acts like that where, hey, guess what? You're just dead. But I suppose because you don't have to live after the act, you aren't as worried about that. So, whatever. Because let's face it, the difference here is not violence. It's not gender. It's survival. Somebody lives after a horrible incident and they feel shitty. And that is terrible. But that doesn't necessarily make it more important than somebody who died. And that's coming from somebody who works with the dead. Okay? Living? Check your privilege. That's why I go out of my way to use clear body language and act in a way that helps minimize a woman's fear and any related feelings. I recommend you do the same. It's seriously, like, the least any man can do in public to make women feel more comfortable in the world we share. Just be considerate of her and her space. How? You keep telling me to do this, but you do not tell me how to do this. Is it something I should instinctively know? Because if it's something I instinctively know, clearly there wouldn't be a rape culture. So, how? How am I supposed to do this? What is your body language? Is it putting your hands over your privates, bowing your head, and shuffling along like your feet are chained together? Because, I know that sounds horribly racist considering you're black, but is that what you do? Seriously, how do you do this? You tell me I should do something, you don't tell me how to do it. Screw off, man. Just, no, you can't dictate my behavior and then not even give me a guideline for how this behavior must act. Like, most gentlemen's guys, okay? They tell me you should be chivalrous and be pleasant to a lady and be a gentleman. Pull out her chair, pay for the dinner, open the door, walk on the side of the street so she is not hit by rainwater from passing cars. If a gentleman comes up to molest her, you knock his lights out. This is how you tell me to behave as a gentleman. You are not telling me how to behave as a gentleman. You are telling me I should do something and then giving me no rules or etiquette to follow. You have failed in the act of giving a gentleman's guide, sir. And I demand satisfaction. We shall have pistols on the front lawn of the White House at dawn, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. You may think it's unfair that we have to counteract and adjust ourselves for the ill behavior of other men. You know what? You're right. It is unfair. It is the fault. Is it the fault of women? Or is it the fault of the men who act abysmally and make the rest of us look bad? If issues of fairness bother you, get mad at the men who make you and your actions appear questionable. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this and remember the next couple of paragraphs I'm going to read. Because I want to point out the hypocrisy of this mindset from people like him and those with him who have this rape culture idea, because they have a very set stance on issues that this is going to be related to. Those of you reading while I'm talking have probably already guessed it. Because when it comes to assessing a man, whatever one man is capable of, a woman must presume you are capable of. Unfortunately, that means all men must be judged by our worst example. If you think that sort of stereotyping is bullshit, how do you treat a snake when you come across it in the wild? You treat it like a snake, right? Well, that's not stereotyping. That's acknowledging an animal for what it is capable of doing and the harm it can inflict. Simple rules of the jungle, man. Since you are a man, women must treat you as such. When I first read this, I cannot convey to you how hard I laughed. We are talking Joker levels of laughter here, people. Insane clown levels of laughter here. Because you want to know what? If this was applied to anybody else, there would be so much shit thrown at me. Do you know why I know this? Because it has happened. Because I will say, for example, that, hey, Islamic extremists, this is what they believe. This is what all Muslims believe. This is their holy book, and their holy book says if you change anything, you are not practicing Islam. So if they're practicing Islam, they must agree and support all these horrible, violent, oath-breaking actions that lead to slaughter, genocide, mass sexual slavery. Everything ISIS does is in the Quran, supported by the Quran, and has been enacted by believers of the Quran throughout its entire history. But you can't judge all Muslims by the actions of a few bad people. That's racist! Or, black people commit more crime than white people. Therefore, white people are justified in viewing black people as a threat. That's racist! Not all black people are violent criminals! You shouldn't judge by the worst example! You should treat people equally, not by their evil outliers! Well done. Well done, Seth. You have based solely on the idea of a gender being responsible for the bad actions of a few, of both genders, that it is perfectly acceptable to treat everyone of that gender as if they were an evil, violent rapist. You presumably, being African American, belong to the same group that says, I should not believe such about black people, despite the fact that black people commit much, much more crime, especially violent crime. Now, I don't believe all black people are evil, violent criminals. Heck, I don't even believe that all Muslims are supremacist terrorists. I believe there's a lot more than we like, but that's pretty much everybody at this point. But you are telling me that I should not view groups based on the few actions of a bad few, except when it comes to men. And you are telling me that I should not hold the innocent of those groups responsible for the bad actions of a few. I should not hold them accountable. I should not judge them. I should not treat them with suspicion. But it's okay as long as the one group is women and the bad group is men. I want you, sir, to realize the level of intellectual hypocrisy you have just engaged in. Because you have engaged in essentially the worst intellectual hypocrisy I have come across in a very long time. In fact, this whole idea of rape culture is some of the worst intellectual hypocrisy I have come across. In fact, I have seen it do some very bad things. I once read about a Hispanic fellow who intentionally would cross the street when he saw a woman coming so that she wouldn't worry about him, because as a minority man, he had to acknowledge that they were viewed as more of a threat. He had internalized racist philosophy so much see, it used to be that a black man would cross the street when a woman was coming, especially a white woman. Do you want to know why? It's because he could be perceived as a threat to her and killed. So he crossed the street to avoid being killed. You have now trained at least one minority man to cross the street not for fear of being killed, but because he himself believes that because he is a minority and a man, he is a greater threat psychologically to a woman's mental health in her quote-unquote vulnerability. The completely reasonable and understandable fear of men is your responsibility. You didn't create it, but you also didn't build the freeways either. Some of the things you inherit from society are cool, and some of them are rape culture. That becomes important here too. Because this is where we get down to just exactly how rape culture truly works. And it's not just about vulnerability. And it also, in a way, explains the hypocrisy. But before we get to that, since you are part of it, you ought to know what rape culture is. According to Marshall University's Women's Center website, rape culture is an environment in which rape is prevalent and in which sexual violence against women is normalized and excused in the media and popular culture. Rape culture is perpetrated through the use of misogynistic language, the objectification of women's bodies, the glamorization of sexual violence, thereby creating a society that disregards women's rights and safety. Okay, so we're going to actually pause and examine this for a moment. Rape is prevalent and in which sexual violence against women is normalized and excused in the media and popular culture. I do not recall the last time rape was excused in the media. In fact, I actually recall a bit of a hubbub with the Rolling Stone having taken the story of a rape and run with it as inexcusable so hard that they had to backtrack when it turned out it hadn't actually occurred. As far as popular culture goes, again, I don't recall an example, really, of it being considered normalized or excusable, except maybe in some rap songs. But, you know, I can't say to that because I don't actually listen to much rap music. I can't understand the words, so I just don't, you know. But I've heard it glorifies rape, so yeah, I guess okay. In rap culture, which is predominantly from the black community, I suppose. Sure, I guess it's normalized and excused. But you know, everywhere else I've been, metal, country, hip hop, folk, television shows, no, not normalized, not rape. And I'm not even sure about rap culture. I might be wrong on that one. It might have no rape being normalized or excused. So hey, in that case, we aren't having that. As for rape being prevalent, comparatively in history, we are at the lowest level of rapes existent. Except maybe over in Sweden, in which case, you know, Muslim immigrants are raping Swedish women. But hey, we shouldn't judge all Muslims for that. Or they're doing the grooming gangs in England and France and Germany and several other European countries. But hey, you know, we shouldn't judge Muslims for the bad actions of a few. Remember, so yeah. I think what was it? Pat Condell and a couple other people actually did put out I think it was Sargon of Akkad, who kind of got me into this video stuff. Was talking about rape culture in the UK. And yes, there is a rape culture in the UK, and it's headed by Muslims. So, you know, hey, Muslim men, take heart and listen, because you are responsible for rape culture, and you should act in a way that doesn't rape women or doesn't make them feel they should fear being raped by you. Maybe. I don't want to insist, so, you know, there we go. Misogynistic language, the objectification of women's bodies, and the glamorization of sexual violence. Okay. Again, I haven't even seen it normalized or excused, so I'm really not sure where sexual violence has been glamorized. Unless you're talking about BDSM porn, in which case everybody gets violence, and it's sexual, and it's glamorized. And it's fun. But, you know, okay, whatever. Objectification of women's bodies, that is a whole issue that even feminists can't agree on. And as we'll see, misogynistic language is very, very tricky. Because things that should not be considered misogynistic are apparently misogynistic. And this is why. And this is the hypocrisy where it comes from. And this is why some of these things that you have inherited as men are rape culture. Because, see, here's how it goes. When a woman first told me I was part of rape culture, I wanted to disagree for obvious reasons. I don't rape! Like many of you, I want to say, whoa, that ain't me. Instead, I listened. I almost want to say that was your first mistake, man, but honestly, I don't think that was your first mistake. So, here we go. Later, I approached a writer I respect. I asked her to write an article with me wherein she'd explain rape culture to me and to male readers. She stopped returning my emails. Okay. Part of me wants to ask if you approached it the same way you approach all these women to let them know that you aren't going to rape them. But, you know, I will applaud you. You found out something that you deemed to be a problem, which I support, and you went to somebody who you respected and said, please teach me. I can respect that. That is what you should do. When you find something that looks like a problem and you want to learn about it, ask those who you respect that may know something about it. Now, people, please remember, she stopped returning his emails. I don't know how many sent. That's a wonderful question, but, you know, whatever. At first, I was annoyed. Then it became clear to me she wasn't going to respond at all. I actually got mad. Luckily, learned one shouldn't respond, or one shouldn't immediately respond when they see flashes of anger, or feel flashes of anger. Thunder is impressive, but it's the rain that nourishes life. Bit right, but whatever. So I let the storm pass and thought about it. I took a walk. They seemed to jangle my best thoughts loose. Maybe he means walks. I don't know. Okay, first off, I want to say that your first reaction is actually valid. This is somebody you respect. This is somebody apparently you have been in communication with. You went to her to ask her to teach you about something that is an issue, and to teach other men about this issue. And she didn't respond at all. She cut off all communications with you. Now, as a gentleman, presumably, you should realize how rude that is. She should have at least responded with a, "I don't want to talk about this. Do not contact me further, please. I find this subject unbearable. Sincerely." That is an acceptable action by a polite person. Failure to respond at all because you asked her to teach you about something is unacceptable. Or it used to be. But here we find our first lesson in what exactly is rape culture. Blocks from my house, in front of a car wash, it dawned on me. Somebody threw a bottle of Dawn at him? If rape culture is so important to me, I need to find out for myself what it is. Okay? Actually, I will agree with you. Your first option is always to seek a respected, knowledgeable person and learn from them. But if you can find none, your second responsibility always is, regardless of if you got taught, to find out things for yourself. That is what a sane, rational, intelligent person does. So I applaud you. You took the rational step here. I don't agree with your conclusion, but you took the right step. No woman owes me her time just because I want to know about something she inherently understands. Maybe. I might give you that one. No woman should feel she has to explain rape culture to me just because I want to know what it is. If it's this important to them, you'd think they'd want to. But okay, they don't owe you, but they might owe themselves. No woman owes me shit. Well, I would hope not, because being owed shit is a smelly, dirty business, and even the waste management people don't really enjoy being owed shit. I know, stupid joke. I'm sorry for that. I saw how my desire for a woman to satisfy me ran deep. Oh, crap baskets. Even my curiosity, a trait that has always made me proud, was marred with the same sort of male-centric presumption that fuels rape culture. Oh, shit baskets. I expected to be satisfied. Oh, bleep baskets. That attitude is the problem. I started reading and I kept reading until I understood rape culture and my part in it. I'm just censoring my comment right here. Because you started off so strong. You started off so rational and so intelligent. Zaron, why? Why did you fall this far, my good sir? You've come to believe that a woman being able and willing, and by all accounts, I will actually say should, if this issue is so important to women, if this issue is so big a deal and so much of a problem for 50% of the population that they do, in fact, owe you an answer. If 50% of women really, or 50% of the population, if all women really believe that rape culture is such a problem for them, if they feel so threatened by every man that comes into their life, and you think they don't need to tell us why? They don't need to tell us how to solve the problem? And you think asking them for this information that they inherently know, that they inherently understand, that they have wisdom, which would benefit all people by sharing, they don't owe people that wisdom? They don't need to share that wisdom? And the sheer fact that you want to learn about their problem and how to fucking fix it is an act of rape. Is a goddamn act of mental suicide. Yes, you expected your curiosity to be satisfied. You expected women to have the answers about what they consider a serious, lifelong problem they live with. That is like saying a doctor is raping his patient because he wants to know their symptoms in order to treat their disease. Mein Gott in Himmel. Are you kidding me? So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have found the rape culture. And the rape culture isn't just about rape. The rape culture is about curiosity and wanting your curiosity satisfied so that you can solve people's problems when they tell you there's a problem that needs solving. Well, guess what? If wanting one's curiosity to be satisfied, if wanting to know about a problem in order to fix it is an act of rape and rape culture, fuck it. I guess I'm a bloody rapist. Because I will have my curiosity satisfied. I will learn about things that I believe are issues that need solving, and I will expect those with knowledge of these things to share that knowledge with me so that we can solve the damn problem. Because you know what it is when you don't share that knowledge? When you say, there is a problem, but I will not give you the resources, tools, or knowledge to fix this problem. You want that problem to continue. You feel there is some benefit you gain from actually having that problem. And that may just simply be sympathy because, oh no, I have it so hard because I must fear all men. Well, whoop-de-fucking-do. Get over it. You know, Sargon of Akkad and the Justicar put out a videos the other day. And Justicar is really the one that inspired me about this. And I'll probably do a video about it too. But he knew that the whole police brutality thing against black people wasn't a serious issue for people who went out and protested it. Because those people then tried to get their colleges to give them passing grades for the exams that they missed while out protesting. And Justicar pointed out that if you are not willing to sacrifice, if you are not willing to suffer to change something you believe is a problem, you don't actually believe that's a problem. And you don't actually believe it needs to be solved. If rape culture is such a problem for women, then they should want it stopped. They should want it solved, and they should be willing to take any action necessary, no matter how personally traumatic or painful, in order to end that problem. But this writer that Zaron respected, she wouldn't talk to him. She wouldn't undergo any sort of discomfort to teach somebody about what, by all accounts, is supposed to be a very important and traumatic subject and problem. In fact, no woman, apparently, really talked to him. He had to find it out on his own. He had to understand it on his own. Nobody would talk to him. Nobody would teach him. Nobody would sacrifice even time. And if they aren't even willing to sacrifice enough time to write an email, then how big is this issue? And really, how terrible is it to live with this issue? I mean, if it's simply about vulnerability, that can be solved 60 minutes a week in a year, at worst. Because, heck, it can be solved in 4 weeks. You get trained in how to stop people and get away in your first week of martial arts training. You get trained in how to take people down in your first week of gun training. There's ways to manage vulnerability. But it sounds like some people are too happy with their paranoia and the profits and benefits they can get from that paranoia to really actually consider it enough of an issue to stop. So I'm sorry, Zaron, that you feel this way. And I'm sorry that you feel you're responsible for all these problems. And I mean, his article goes on with solutions men can confront men. Why? Why should men confront men? Men can correct men with, well, you've done a wonderful job of that. You've told me absolutely nothing about what I should do, just that what I apparently don't even care to do, which is creepily go up to women and say, I'm not a threat, or something, is a problem. Men can make other men shut the fuck up. Why? Why should we make other men shut the fuck up? Why should we censor other men in our freedom of speech? And, it's our job to have standards for ourselves and thus for all men. Well, guess what? We already do that. It's called the fucking law, you idiot. We have standards. People break them. That's a criminal action. We don't blame all of society for the criminal actions of an individual. Stop blaming all of a gender for the criminal actions of an individual. Okay, so this was actually supposed to just be like a 14-minute video, and it's actually an hour long, so I will apologize for taking everybody's time on this one. Leave your thoughts below in the comments. If you'd like to have more videos like this, or want other content that you'd find more entertaining, speak up, and heck, donate to the Patreon account, because that means I can make more videos easier. I'm sure that means a lot of people will not donate because they want me to shut the hell up, but hey, you know what? There you go. Anyways, I am Svartwolf, the son of hell, and thank you all for listening. Hella bless.